Welcome to another episode of Mindful City, Tuning into Life, a podcast that brings you an intimate exploration of the businesses, practitioners, and artists making an impact in our community. Join us on Patreon for an exploration of all the people, places, and things that raise consciousness in our community by telling us about the businesses and happenings you'd like to know more about, and we'll explore them for you. Welcome to another episode of Mindful City, Tuning into Life. Today, I am actually on location, which is unusual during this pandemic time. But to have a physical podcast interview, masks on, I am here in Tampa, Florida at the Urban E-Recycling plant. And I've been actually reaching out to Greg for a while. We met years ago when you started out, and I was always so touched and inspired by the work that you're doing here. And so I've been kind of like this person coming around all the time. Can we do an interview? Can we do an interview? And so today we just completed a tour, which we're going to set some pictures up, but been wanting to just kind of pick your brain about how you started with the Urban E-Recycling, what your passion is behind it, because I know both you and your wife are very passionate about what you're doing. And we wanted to bring this information to the community and share about what's happening here and how we're trying to make a change in all that we are collecting in this world. So welcome to the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's an honor. I love your passion, about what we do and your support, and wanted to put the word out. It takes a village to recycle. So that's what we're trying to do.
How did you get into the work of recycling?
Out of school, I went and just needed a job in Atlanta and answered an ad for a scrapyard position. Didn't even know what a scrapyard was. Walked in and it was just instant, in my blood. Hard work, just amazing amounts of everything, and just cool equipment, stuff like that, and that was almost 30 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So my background was in more of the mainstream metals, and the coppers, the steels, the alloys, stuff like that. And then about 11 years ago, took a job for a telecom networking company that resold equipment, but they wanted to form a recycling division. So I answered the ad and took it on to build their division up on the e-waste side, which was new to me, but it was, a quick learn, an intense learn. You throw yourself into it, and where on the other side, you have three types of recycling, basically. I know there's probably 100 people can name 100, but the three main are going to be post-consumer, which is what you put in your green garbage cans for the city. That's the cardboards and the scraps, the plastic, stuff like that. Then you have your traditional scrap yards, your metals, your ferrous and non-ferrous. Then you have your e-waste side, which is circuit boards, stuff like that. Our side is more environmentally important. Where everything else is, obviously it is, most of that's biodegradable. When you're dealing with the electronic side, you're dealing with non-ABS plastics at time. You're dealing with, mercuries and stuff like that. Not in high amounts, but if it gets disposed of improperly, you have a problem. So I'm rambling on that.
But it's so important, because I think as a consumer, we really don't have an understanding of where this goes when we put something in the trash. We have no idea if it gets collected, does it get used.
Sorry to interrupt you on there, but there is a misconception that when you throw it in your green container, it just goes and gets made. Now, they've actually come out with incredible equipment that helps sort it, robot eyes and stuff like that, that when your thing gets dumped, at the municipality landfill, it goes up a conveyor and it's throwing plastics, it's throwing cardboard, it's throwing into different ways. So very little is actually non-recyclable for that end. But on the e-waste side, you can't do that. Let me go back to how we started. I'm sorry. That was the question. I'm sorry. You got, I'm going to come off like, ugh. So after that, I had ideas. I wanted to serve a bigger cause. I realized the importance. I had the passion about recycling. I like to call it more scrap. What I do is I'm more of a scrap person. Recycling is a nice word because recycling, there's no way to do recycling clean. You're going to get dirty. You're going to be sore. It's hard work. So to me, it's more of a scrap industry than a recycling industry. But, there was, I had the passion for it. And, I saw the incredible importance of the electronic side of scrap and recycling. And we just felt that, there's an opportunity to bring it to more people. It's funny, people come, people are like, wow, what a great idea. How'd you guys come up with it? Electronic recycling has been around, since the 70s. But it's now getting more prevalent. It's getting more important. And there's some major resources and companies right here in Tampa. You have the largest in the world with Sims Recycling. You have some other companies. And everybody is everybody's at capacity. They say, who's your competition? And my wife and partner, Delinda, her greatest tagline is, our biggest competition is the landfill. Yeah. Because every report that comes out, and, it's, statistics are going to vary. But they're saying, at best case scenario, up until a few years ago, 30% of all electronic waste was being recycled properly, which means 70% or so is getting disposed of in the landfills and stuff like that. Yeah. So that's our biggest competition. If you pull back even a few percent from a landfill, that's a massive amount of material. Yeah. You're talking millions of pounds. So, we live, it's a pretty tight community of recyclers, and e-waste recyclers, stuff like that. Of course, we all want each other's accounts, but you don't. It's not one of these, looking back, it's like, man, we're busy. How are we going to get everything done today?
Is the urban part in your name, is that more of your focus? Is that how you're really specializing in it?
No. Okay. It's just kind of come up with a name, and Dell is the creative one, and, and just let's, we live in Seminole Heights. We've been there, so we're very, we're very tuned into, and growing up in Jersey and stuff like that, I like noise. Sirens and traffic helps me sleep, stuff like that. So it's just, we've got this herb, stuff like that. And it's just, we're doing it for everybody. We don't care, if you're the largest corporation in the world, we'll handle you. If you're an individual that needs to get rid of, a cord.
Like me, I'll drop like 2 cords off at a time.
Why not? Exactly. So one of our company mottos mission statements is, if you make recycling easy, convenient, affordable, and secure, people will do the right thing.
What is the majority of the items that come through here? Do you have? Is it pretty even, or
no? I mean, it's our success is based on computers and higher up material. Obviously, we are a business. We are a for-profit business. So scrap has always been based on volume. So the most recoverable, higher value recoverable items come out of the higher end equipment. But you can't just ignore, we'll go out, we'll lose money picking up a printer. Somebody's got to do it. If not, it's going in the landfill, stuff like that. We'll incur costs. Toner is we have to pay to properly dispose of it. And at 5 to 10 cents a pound, if we dispose of 10 to 20,000 pounds of toner, that's a lot of toner. Over the course of a year, it's a couple $1,000s. That's fine. It's good, but we have to have the flow of the better, material. So we just got to have a balance. We never say no. And when the economy is good, people are replacing computers. They're on a 3-year. Computers are made to last 2-3 years. I don't care. Pretty much. They can. So if everything is stable and okay, you have this cycle going, you know.
Well, one of the things you offer specifically, which I enjoyed seeing for myself when I came here, was the destruction of the motherboard. So that's something that...
The hard drive?
The hard drive,
the hard
I'm
drive,
sorry.
Yes.
Thank
the
you.
motherboard gets melted down,
Yeah, it gets
disposed, but
melted.
it's just...
Can you share a little bit the process of how that happens? Because I know you're doing that
Sure.
for corporations as well as for individuals to
Anybody.
come here and
Yep.
really feel safe and secure with
Yeah.
what happens with information.
It's,
Can you take us
it's
through?
a good, trust and verify. You know, anybody can tell you we're going to destroy your hard drive, but the proof is in actually seeing it. So anybody, we have it's a transparent warehouse. You don't need an appointment to come in. Any of our accounts or any individuals can always come by. Obviously, we have restrictions in place during COVID of, mask and, temperature checks, stuff like that. But, appointments are good because, we're all over the place, stuff like that. We have stuff going on. But if you want to see what's going on at 8 o'clock in the morning and see if it's the same thing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, stop by. We don't do, I'm not big on this, this big person's coming, let's clean up. We'll make the aisles, we'll do a little, but it's not, we're not going to, scrub the floors. We keep a safe environment. Safety's, if you see up there, we've developed a program, our safety program for our truck drivers. Our safety compliance guy wanted to call it Gators, and I was like, no, we're going to call it METS. Which, he's like, well, what does that stand for? And I'm like, making everybody think safety. I was like, all right, that could work. That we can do.
I see their jersey.
So back to the security. So what we learned early on, what we learned early on is that people will, get rid of their stuff. It's just, we don't charge. We don't charge for any of our services, but we don't pay either. And we're offering the services in exchange, and just an unbelievable percentage. All they care about making sure is their hard drive, their information is destroyed completely. Now, it's an accepted part of the industry to wipe hard drives, to reset cell phones. We've done our research. Okay, it's still not 100%. They did a study that they found like 30 some odd % of all hard drives sold on eBay still had information back on it. Now it might just be an X, a byte or an X or an O back in some distance, but the information's still there. If the wiping fails and you don't realize it, all that stuff's still there. So the best way for that is just put it through our shredder, which you got to see. It takes it and it grinds it into 1 to 2 inch, 3 inch pieces. There's no recovery on that. It's the ultimate destruction. So we welcome people to bring their stuff into us, and then they can actually watch and do it. And if not, a lot for the corporations will bring it. As you saw on the sorting table, the data gets pulled, the hard drives get pulled immediately, quarantined to the back where our security area is, logged in, scanned by serial number, and then put through the shredder, but videotaped. So you're going to see the serial number of your hard drive, and you're going to see that serial number go through. Okay. And, we've learned from our customers. In the past, we put our destruction guys would put it down, videotape it for a second, so it gets the serial number, pull it up, and then put it through. And somebody said, love the video, but how do I know you didn't switch my hard drive when you picked it up? That was a great point. So now we have it, and we just slide, and it's pictured like that. And it just gives people peace of mind. It gives people peace of mind. We've gotten people, companies through HIPAA audits, and stuff like that. When they had their audit, they need to do that. So we started buying shredders, which is fun.
I think it's an important service you're offering because I know people who have probably about 4 or 5 laptops saved at home because they don't know of this ability to have it destroyed, and they're worried about their information. What are some items that you receive here at Recycling that maybe the average consumer wouldn't know that could be useful in e-recycling that we might have
X-ray.
at home?
We were just talking about it earlier. X-ray, your X-ray films. You get them back from your doctor. X-rays are now going all digital.
Yes.
But by HIPAA's laws, HIPAA laws and standards, medical facilities have to hold your X-rays in, for 10 years.
Yes. Okay.
So as things switched to digital about 5-6 years ago, we're cycling out tons of, X-rays that are coming and what to do. There's really nothing as personal as an X-ray.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to see someone naked and kind of no. How about seeing their inside?
Exactly.
But it's very, in all seriousness, it's a very important, very private type of thing. Medical issues, stuff like that. So we pride.
I would not have thought of that actually, and I probably still have quite a few of them.
Yeah,
it
sits around,
home.
so it gets handled like the hard, like the hard drives with the same care and destruction. Not necessarily through a hard drive shredder, but a paper type shredder. Then goes to be processed where there's silver recovery on it. It's a win-win.
I even saw some the slides that when we were just going through like picture.
Sure.
What were they called? The
projector slides.
Yeah. Do you do the same with photo films? Those
we'll
negatives?
slide. Yeah, there's the negatives. Any type of film, usually, especially the older, old microfilm. If you might be too young for that. That's how we had to used to learn stuff. Oh, need a newspaper article.
Yes.
Go there. And, oh, look at that. From 1948. Stuff like that. Stuff like that. All film has, from the process of developing it, has silver content in it. So it is all recoverable. We view private, personal photos and slides and videotape, stuff like that, as a hard drive. Even if it's just you and your family wearing polyester pants from 1970 when you went to see Grandma in West Palm Beach. That's your personal. We will destroy that. We make sure it gets destroyed.
I was thinking too. I meant to bring that with me. I have floppy disks too. Do you?
Same thing.
Okay.
Yep,
do you
absolutely.
put those through?
We put them through. Put them through. Floppy disks, all sizes. The big ones, the plastic ones, the 2.5s that came out.
Cassette tapes.
Tapes we do. Yep.
Okay. All right.
If they're music ones, we keep them and put them in the museum. I explain it to people born in the last 20, 30 years. What's that?
It's a museum item
exactly.
now. Do you also put the pencil with it for the
to do that? Exactly.
To show how we repaired them.
Exactly.
And I was speaking to you just for the listeners to know. I love coming here, but I could never work here because I would want to take everything home.
We wouldn't let you.
So I volunteered that I want to put the museum together because there's so many items that come through here that are really unique and you almost don't want to recycle them because of the history that they have.
Sure.
What are some of the most unique things that you've seen come through here where you're like, oh wow?
You see, depends. People like. Something that somebody's fascinated with. It's just, I've seen that. But we see a lot of, most people, in general, everybody loves the old Tandy computers, especially the older one. It was usually, I'm 53. Yeah, I'm 53. I know I don't look a day over 52. But no, stuff like that, the old computer, a lot of the people that grew up in the 80s, this was your first experience with a computer, and a lot of it was the Tandy, the radio TRS-80s and stuff like that. Just so I'm not a tech person. As much tech is around me, I don't understand it. I don't want to. I don't want to become attached to it. I just want to break it, break it and recycle it. But stuff like that, it's more of a sentimental. I think the connection is, some people have a technical fascination, like, my God, look at this. A lot of it is more just, a personal, sentimental attachment. Like, oh my God, I remember that computer. And people come in and they're like, oh my God, that must be worth a fortune. And they're not. Old vintage stuff, unless it's some, very limited or very first edition Apple and stuff like that, isn't worth what people think because, one, they made so many of them. And they were meant to last more than 2-3 years. There's still so many out there. There's still so many out there because of the same thing. What do you do with it? Even back then. So you get a lot put it back in the box when you got your IBM personal computer that worked twice as fast, and you put it in the garage. Stuff like that. So just the older computers that we get, I think, are what has a big attachment for people.
What would you say to the consumers right now that are out there, what you're offering this community? Where are you seeing yourself in the next few years? I know you just opened a new location in Orlando, but what do you envision e-recycling to look like, and what do you encourage our listeners to do in terms of their electronic waste?
In terms of what they should do, I mean, if you truly believe in, what we're doing for the environment. Okay, there's obviously a huge business side to this. We have 26 employees. We built it, from a 500 square foot, storage space to, this size, and that many employees. We have a great responsibility to maintain that, to build careers and stuff like that. And then you have the environmental passion side, and if we truly believe in our mission, and if you truly want to do it, it sounds stupid for us to say, stop buying so many damn things. Okay? Yes, the iPhone that came out last year is still good, but we are a nation of consumerism in terms of we keep wanting the next best. And the problem is that these people that are just pure geniuses, and when we do tours for Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, robotics clubs, stuff like that, whenever we do a tour to younger generations, one thing I point out is you guys are going to be inventing the next great thing. Okay, you're much smarter than I got some smart friends, but these kids are 10 times smart. I don't fall into any of those groups. When you invent something, you need to be responsible and invent it to know what happens to it once the next thing over that. And the biggest environmental issue with e-waste has been the old TVs.
Right.
The cathode ray TVs and monitors, CRTs, when they came out, they were great. But the technology, it's leaded glass. Okay? So you see the TVs and the monitors are very, very heavy. They were great because what would happen is they'd get recycled. They'd take it, they'd break the glass, remelt it into new glass, make a new CRT. Okay? All of a sudden, LCD TVs and monitors came out. Okay, no, wait, I can get a 22-inch flat screen computer monitor that weighs 6 pounds instead of this 15-inch leaded one that weighs 50, 60. And now what do you do with the leaded glass? You can't put it in the landfill. It gets smashed, it'll seep into the ground. It's a very expensive problem. It's actually a world crisis. When you hear about, in the past, you hear about the Chinese dumping and all that stuff. Yes, China has has always played a major, major role in the recycling industry in terms of, as an underdeveloped nation of billions of people, they were building, they needed all the they've been supporting that. Now that they're built up, they've stopped. And yes, there was a massive segment that Europe and the Americas, developed nations, took advantage of dumping, that type of stuff on them. Completely contaminated. China's actually stepped up. For whatever reason, it's just stopped it. Unfortunately, that doesn't stop the problem. Now the dumping grounds are in Africa, the dumping grounds in Ghana are 10 times worse than they ever were in China. And it's but as an industry, we've matured and been more responsible, and we're policing it a lot more. We've put a lot of legislation in that illegal shipments, illegal dumping like that is now very punishable instead of slaps on the wrist. And it's good. So, there's been great improvements. But yeah, back to, I know I ramble on, but it comes back
what
to,
you shared is so important.
if you don't need it, don't get it. PlayStation 5, also be careful. This is a tough thing, and we hate even talking about it, but I think it's just in full transparency. Be careful about donating. computers and stuff like that. One thing to keep people know that if it's too old for you, it's going to be too old for the organization you give it to, and then you don't know where that's going to get recycled.
Right.
There's great programs. We assist. We contribute, and we guide, and we make sure if people need stuff, they get it. But giving somebody a 5-year-old computer that's not protected, one, it can't have a hard drive in it. You can't give them your hard drive.
Yeah.
So now they need to replace a hard drive. They need a new Windows. So a lot of times, it's not cost effective for the organization. So it's better to work with companies, and there's some good ones that recycle your stuff. Find companies and recyclers that give back to the community and work.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's something I wouldn't really have thought about it, but that's important.
It sucks, we cringe when somebody's like, "Can you? I want you to come get my stuff, but will you donate it for us?" And it's like, come off sounding kind of like, but no, we won't. I'll tell you, if you want to do it, we don't recommend it, but do it. Just
it's more of a hassle.
Make sure they know. Well, make sure they know that when they're done using it, or if they're not going to use it, dispose of it. Yeah. Dispose of it properly.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But there's great programs out there. Hillsborough Community College, by the way, their process is before it gets recycled. Before they put it out for a recycling contract, all their computers, stuff like that, all their even lab equipment, microscopes, stuff like that. If you're a 501c or nonprofit, you can go in and request that material. So we work with them. They might start off with 800 computers, and by the time it's time to, cut it off and start the next process, there might only be 50 or 60 left. And those are safe, updated computers, stuff like that. So there's just good programs like that. And
that's something to be mindful about.
Yes.
Yeah. I really appreciate you taking the time, allowing us to tour your facility.
Thank you.
We're mesmerized. I took these amazing pictures, and I think I'm still processing everything that I've seen today.
So am I. I still, after this many years, I still like, oh, wow.
It's still. Well, I really appreciate you sharing with our listeners, and I'll be also posting some information on how to contact you, on how pickup is done and how drop-off is done. Okay. And any resources that I find that you have available, I'll make those available to the listeners too. So I hope that we can do it again.
Thank you for what you do. As Earth Day's coming up, we usually do massive Earth Day celebrations. We've rented out the Tampa Theater and released a e-waste movie and had awards. We did an art auction gala. We did a trivia night. Unfortunately, last year and this year is going to be, under wraps.
I would love to work with you to find a way to make that happen.
So we do a lot of drive stuff like that, keep the awareness there. But 2022 is we're going to have a blowout. We're going to have a huge Earth Day concert. We're going to do a yacht rock concert, stuff like that, and just raise awareness, but just celebrate
at the same time.
Celebrate having some fun, doing the right thing, and breaking stuff.
Count us in.
That's it. Perfect. Don't fix stuff. Break it.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you.
To find out more about electronic recycling, visit them online at urbanerecycling.com. They also have 3 locations in Tampa, Orlando, and Sarasota. Visit them on Instagram.